to see, obviously we had a downpour, everybody got a little bit wet, but we're here now and we've got some of the best drivers in the country ready to do war on a very, very tricky conditions. So we need to get them warmed up. So what we're going to do is get you guys warmed up. They are doing their job on track, they're taking extreme risks, but it's up to you guys. Kevin Quinn just trying to steal some attention from me there. That's an ongoing battle. So we're going to see who's alive and awake in Dunleary. We're going to call this Grandstand A, and this is Grandstand B, okay? Actually, we'll call this the Monster Energy Grandstand and the Link Engine Management Grandstand. We're going to see who's a little louder, all right? So, Monster Energy Grandstand, make some noise! Link Engine Management Grandstand, make some noise! Grandstand, boo them. Just boo. Just boo. We're going to try that one more time. These guys are killing it over here. You guys are just, you got to stand up. You got to get involved. Guys, once again, make some noise up here. You got one last chance. Make some noise. It's not bad, but still boo them. Now boo them. Now everybody cheer. There we go. So obviously, we're here in Dunleary, it's the last time we're here. A couple of people we'd like to thank before we kick off this top 16. Can we get a huge round of applause to the Dublin Port Authority who have allowed us to run this event here today. Give them a huge round of applause, they're in attendance. I'd also like to thank all of our IDC team who have built all of this over the last 5 days. Can we give them a huge round of applause for putting this together? Now, we are ready to kick off the top 16. We're going to introduce each driver. We want you guys to give them a huge cheer as we introduce them along the grid. We start with the man that hasn't been beaten this year in Ireland or England. Will you please make some noise for the Northern Smoke Machine, McKeever! He is a pro rookie and he has a big task ahead of him. Will you please make some noise for Devlin? He's still in school, but he's put a lot of very experienced drivers to school this weekend. Will you please get up for Ryan Caldwell? Next driver is expected to wake up at any moment now because he started his first ever event yesterday and he's in his first ever top 16. Give it up for Jack Shield! Absolutely blitzing qualifying this morning and also representing Bumlin's charity. Please give it up for Kieran Casey! He may have all the talent online, but he actually comes out here and does it for real. Give it up representing Podium Academy for Alan Hinds! He is the youngest driver on the grid representing Link Engine Management and Westlake Tires. Please give it up for Connor Shanahan! Back in the top 16 and back where he needs to be for a championship hunt. Give it up for Paul McCarthy! The pro rookie who has now made 2 top 16s in a row, making a name for himself this year. Give it up for Danny O'Callaghan! You know, he's not Irish, okay? Spoiler alert. He's not Irish, but he travels pretty far to be here. 15,000 kilometers to be here at every round. Get up for the Thunder from down under, Mitch Lerner! One of the most aggressive drivers on the grid and one of the rising talents in the sport. Give it up for the always impressive Dennis Murphy! Back in the top 16, back where he belongs. He is the current and defending Irish Drift Champion. Give it up for Jack Shanahan! The man that can't keep a spoiler on for 20 minutes of his life, hitting everything on the circuit and entertaining you all day. Give it up for Drift Games, Mike Fitzgerald! Just buttoning up his tuxedo here in the formal race suit that he has representing Drift Games. Will you please give it up for Mr. Serious Pete Nilsson! And we won't make any more boat jokes, I promise, Joe. No more boat jokes, okay? So obviously the only man that can actually ramp up here and float all the way home, no problem at all. But he is one of the guys to beat this weekend. He is coming back for blood after a small mistake kept him off the podium last year. Give it up for Joe Doyle! And his teammate, and now rival, is of course the always aggressive, always impressive, and now making it through to the first top 16 of the year in IDC. Give it up for Kevin Quinn! Okay, so This is our last event, so we want to leave this as a memorable one. The rain's got away now, and the more I talk rubbish, the more this track dries, and the more we get some smoke, and the more we get these guys going to war. That's what we came here to see. So, we're going to feel out who's, I don't know, who wants this to be a really memorable belt? I mean, not one we just go and watch and go home, but something that everyone here goes home and says, that was the most together this Irish community of drifting was. The crowd at Mondello in round one were insane. So we're going to give you guys a chance to be just as insane. So, grandstand right over here with Monster Energy Grandstand, make some noise! Link Engine Management Grandstand, make some noise! Everybody standing, make some noise! Oh, we have a new contender over here. We've got some new contender. So you guys are standing, and you're going to make more noise than the guys who are all comfortable up here. Standing once again, make some noise! Okay, now we're going to do it together. We're going to make a roar that really, really, really annoys all the people in Dundee. Okay? Not something we want to do, but the noise regulations that are enforced on us in this event are all related to cars. There are no noise regulations enforced for all of you guys. So essentially we're going to get one huge roar in Dundee before we send these guys to the top 16. So for the guys in the Monster Energy Grandstand, can you please all just rise up onto your feet for one moment? Everybody up on your feet. Shake off all the water. Everybody over here up on your feet. Come on, everybody up. Everybody over here sit down. No, I'm not joking. We're going to give it one huge roar that they hear right throughout this town to remember the fact that drifting was here. On the count of 3. 3, 2, 1, Dundee, make some noise! As this, of course, is our national championship, I would invite you all to stay standing for our national anthem. Okay, so all of these guys, stay standing just for one more moment. Now, all of these guys are putting their cars on the line here for the next 2 hours. That's what they do. They are normal people that work normal jobs just like you. And every time they make a mistake and they hit a wall, that's €300. Okay, that's a bumper gone or a part gone. Look at the back end of every car on this grid. And look how hard they're pushing for your entertainment. And all they ask in return for all those hundreds of euro is not money, it's just appreciation, recognition. We have some of the best fans in the world here in the IDC, and people are watching in from 30 countries, and we're representing our country right now. So we gave it a hell of a go, making a big cheer earlier on. But I want to cheer not for Dundee, not for us, but for these guys who put that much effort in to be here every single weekend entertaining you, putting our little country on the map worldwide when it comes to this sport. But I also want you to, for personal reasons, give them such a cheer that they'll go out and absolutely kill each other to try and win this today. That they have so much adrenaline getting back in these cars that anything could happen. And now that we're all here, we've all made the hard part of getting here. Why not let's wind these guys up as much as we can? So for one last time, Dundee, will you make some noise for your top 16? There's nothing else to say, guys, but get back in your cars, get to the line. We're about to send this one in Dundee one last time. It's about to go down. Top 16. Eddie, talk us through what's coming up. It's ready to go here in Dún Laoghaire.
So as the final drivers leave the circuit, we are ready for our top 16, round 2 in Dún Laoghaire. We are almost ready to go. The final few battles of the day, the track is starting to dry up, and we have 16 gladiators out on circuit ready to fight tooth and nail to be the winner of round 2. Championship points at stake, it is all on the line, and we are almost ready to go. Just a quick look through at some of our top 16 battles. Dwayne McKeever in the first battle will be taking on Liam Devlin. Ryan Caldwell and Jack Shield will be fighting it out in a battle of two guys that have qualified in from yesterday's competition. Connor Shanahan and Paul McCarthy will be coming up against each other. Mitch Lerner and Pete Nilsson. Jack Shanahan versus Danny O'Callaghan. Joe Doyle and Mike Fitzgerald. Kieran Casey, Dennis Murphy, and Alan Hinds and Kevin Quinn. Some really, really exciting battles to look forward to there, and that's only top 16. So as you can see, Dwayne McKeever making it to the line, and Liam Devlin, you feel, will really be up against it in this one. Coming up against the undefeated former two-time IDC champion. But before we get started, we want to say a quick thank you to all our sponsors here this weekend. Link ECU, the title partner of the Irish Drift Championship and the world's leading standalone ECU. Mobil 1, the world's leading synthetic motor oil. MixGarage.com, Europe's largest online retailer of car parts and accessories. M-Tech Brakes, the leading UK supplier of brake components. JDM Distro, the #1 supplier of JDM products in Europe. Zestino Tires, custom molded tires for extreme grip. VP Racing Fuels, the world leader in race fuel technology. Brian James Trailers, crafting quality trailers for over 30 years. Simpson Racing, the benchmark in motorsport safety products. Monster Energy, fueling the Irish Drift Championship. Group D, who specialise in drift parts and fabrication. And Samco Sport, the original performance silicone hose brand. We want to say a massive thank you to all those guys for helping us push this championship to the extremes so that we can put on one-off events like this custom circuit here in Dún Laoghaire. Without their help, none of this would be possible. And of course, we want to thank all you guys here in attendance and all our fans watching around the world. Without you, none of this would be possible. You guys keep coming here and supporting the series, allowing us to push further and further, and you can just see how much this sport has grown in the last number of years. These cars and these builds and these drivers have become more impressive every single year and every time they come back to compete on track for your entertainment. We are almost ready to go. They are lined up. Dwayne McKeever taking on Liam Devlin. A spot in the Great 8 awaits the winner. Who's going to take it to? True. Will Dwayne McKeever continue his unbeaten run, or will we see Liam Devlin taking down one of the best in the business right now?
Yeah, important to remember also that with treacherous conditions earlier on, guys were given a sight lap. Now it's wet and dry, considered that it's safe to compete. Dwayne McKeever going in here in the conditions he hasn't driven yet. Dwayne McKeever just having to negotiate those puddles on the outside. Look at Liam Devlin though, right on the back bumper of Dwayne McKeever.
Yeah, McKeever having to push really hard here, and of course he's coming out here with no experience of how grippy this track is. Of course, Devlin battling into this top 16. A little bit more track time here than McKeever, but McKeever nailing that qualifying line.
Oh, and Devlin, is Devlin in the wall?
Devlin's in the wall.
Devlin may be in the wall there before the finish line. You can see where that cone is. That is the finish line. Did Devlin go in the wall before that?
Yeah, hard for us to see it here from our point of view, but it looks as though not too much damage on the rear end of that car, so maybe just about getting away with it.
Dwayne getting caught a little bit by that wet patch just at the front of the grandstand, the Monster Energy grandstand, but he gets back on it. And as you can see, the smoke starting to bellow from Dwayne McKeever's car. The marshals here judging this a dry enough track that they don't need siding laps. Siding laps only enforced earlier on due to the unprecedented conditions on this surface. But Dwayne gets back on it again, and look at this. As it goes around here, Liam Devlin looks like he straightens up or cuts out, or I'm not sure what exactly happened. Can we get another angle of that one to see exactly what happened with Liam Devlin here? And he just, he spins just on the line. Does he spin just on the line? That's what it looks like to me. He comes through it, the front wheels just go. That's that white line that Dwayne is at now. That's the finish line, and look, he stops just before this, before it. So does he throw that away 10-0? That's what it looked like after what did look like he had pushed Dwayne McKeever very, very hard into a decision the judges were going to have to give an advantage to Liam Devlin, and I think he may have thrown that away right at the last moment. Well, we switch him around now. It'll be McKeever in the chase position, Devlin in the lead, and McKeever, a little bit of luck there, made some errors in the conditions, but got back into it. Not what he would have wanted, though, with Devlin spinning behind him. But let's see what happens now as he tries to chase down Liam Devlin. Got more laps under his belt, Devlin, but Dwayne McKeever is currently undefeated. Let's see what happens.
But look at this, McKeever not with the proximity that we're used to seeing from him.
Well, he's also got that 10. Oh, and a bit of contact as they come through the center section. As McKeever now starts to reel in Devlin as they go to that wet, slippy patch on the outside. As you can see, Dwayne backing out on the angle, doing enough here. But remember, he may have a 10-0 advantage. His spotter may have. So look at that transition from Dwayne McKeever as he pushes Devlin across the line, and Devlin barely making it. They are going hard here in Dunleary.
Yeah, McKeever really bringing the aggression towards the end of that run, Dave. But you may be right, holding back just a little bit because of that potential 10-0 on the first run. And as they line up,
that's insane. I mean, it can go either way so quickly here. But slide him left for Devlin, slide him right for McKeever. Who's going through to the top 8? Kieran goes, Kevin goes. It is Dwayne McKeever getting the win and going through to the top 8. And you can see Dwayne shaking his head going, I had wasn't the prettiest of 2 runs, but the big mistake coming from Devlin, spinning out before the finish line and throwing it away. So, you may not have the prettiest of runs there, McKeever, but he stayed on the track and kept all of those wheels in the right direction, and Devlin will be gutted. He'll look back at that last moment and say, I had him. I was so, so close. But showing right there that the big dogs will be under trouble here right throughout. And talking about big dogs, Ryan Caldwell goes up against Jack Shield. Jack Shield, the dream weekend continuing. He just will not go away. Caldwell finishing second on the podium yesterday. He looked incredible and on form. This is another one, though, you never know.
Yeah, well, you got to take it. Neither of these 2 drivers in the pro class, both these drivers qualifying in for him yesterday. So Jack Shield's going to feel like, if he's going to come up against somebody in the top 16, it might as well be a competitor from the same class that he competes in. Now, what can he do against Caldwell, though? As Caldwell throws it in onto that wall. Jack Shield right there with him, though, Dave. The pace in this little BMW is phenomenal. Jack Shield, he just floors it all the way around the circuit, and he is sticking with Ryan Caldwell right onto the door.
He almost spins, but he keeps in it. Jack Shield is still in it with Ryan Caldwell. Almost coming towards the pillar as Shield stays in the fight. He's given away half the horsepower, but shuts it down just before the finish line, or just on the finish line.
Yeah,
what about this from Jack Shield?
Maybe having 2 wheels over the line before he's shutting it down, but yeah, I mean, he's like a dog with a bone. He's not willing to give up, giving himself every opportunity to stay in this, giving away probably 400, 500 brake horsepower, but just manages to keep that car glued to Caldwell.
Almost spins right here. Almost goes on an over rotation as they get to that slippier section.
Yeah, it looked like both drivers almost had a spin at that point, and Caldwell dialing on big angle there, just
you can just
through
see
that
it,
final
the
transition.
water just staying at the top end of the circuit. That's causing issues for everybody right now. But right now, it is going to be Caldwell and Shields. Shields in the lead position. Right now, the scores, we don't know. I mean, Shield had the aggression, did make some errors. Caldwell puts in that solid lead run. Caldwell's got to go for the door of Jack Shields' car here.
He's got to go for the door, but has to find the right balance. Needs aggression, but controlled aggression.
Oh, contact.
Caldwell. Contact definitely there from both drivers as Caldwell goes right onto the back quarter of the little compact BMW. Now, can he close the door again? Because Jack Shield, spin from Shield.
As Shields spins it in that area again.
It just looks so slippy and treacherous at that point on the track, and Shield getting caught out.
And amazing how it's drying everywhere else, just bar that section, and that is causing issues all throughout. But that may be the end of the weekend for Jack Shield.
Do you know what I think it is, Dave? I think if you look at it, the back of the track slopes down towards that section. I wonder, is it running water coming down from higher ground possibly causing that problem? But look, Ryan Caldwell getting the judges' vote, 3 judges giving him the vote of competence. He's going into the Great 8 where he's going to face Dwayne McKeever.
Caldwell and McKeever, guys, give it up for Caldwell and give it up for Jack Shield. What a weekend he had. Gave it his all, but you know, if you're not facing the right direction, even an amateur judge can tell you that is not the way to do it. So put in a valiant effort in the chase, but in the lead, spinning out into that slippier section, and I think that's going to tell a story all day. He took down Shane O'Sullivan earlier on, so that is an incredible thing to do. But his dream weekend ends there at the top 16, but he made it all the way to the top 16 of the main event, so a big future ahead of Jack Shield, but Caldwell moves on to our top 8, McKeever and Caldwell. So it looks like we got to remind you guys one more time, because I'm not having anyone not know this before we leave. We are going to the Mondello Park prize fight June 30th, July 1st. There is just 1,000 grandstand tickets available for the biggest prize in the history of drifting. Also, the biggest cash prize in the history of Irish motorsport. The winner will take home €20,000 cash. The final battle will be for €19,000. One battle, 19 grand. You do not want to miss it. Tickets are on sale tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. from mondellopark.ie. 1,000 grandstand, that's where you want to be, in the grandstand in Mondello. Best seats in the house. Once they're gone, they're gone. So we're hearing from the pits that Paul McCarthy calling a 5-minute rule just before his battle. And, of course, he's going up against Conor Shanahan. Now, this is a championship battle. Obviously, Paul McCarthy currently in 4th place in the championship, and Conor Shanahan sitting in 2nd position. Also, remind you guys, if you're watching it online on the live stream, we want you to do just one thing. We don't pay-per-view. We don't charge anything for this. This is all, you know, to basically move the sport out across the globe. That's what the live stream's for. It's no financial gain to the championship. What we want you guys to do, though, is hit that share button at the bottom of your screen. That's all we ask. Just hit that share button and spread out our amazing drivers here in the IDC to as many people as you know as possible. And, of course, hit up driftgames.life. Driftgames.life, the official merchandise site of the Irish Drift Championship, Drift Games, and the British Drift Championship. If you're looking for drift clothing, hats, hoodies, t-shirts, whatever you want, get on driftgames.life, and you can order. A day or two later, you got some brand new gear, and we got a whole new range this year. You got to check it out. You can order online, and if you're here in attendance, you can go to the shop, which is at the top end of the track. Basically, where everybody keeps spinning is where our merchandising tent is. So,
and maybe that's what it is. Maybe they're getting distracted by some of the cool merchandise range that's been flaunted by the IDC guys.
Oh, is Paul McCarthy having to be jump started here? I'm not sure.
It looks like he's been towed back to his pit area. So
yeah, and of course we wanted a recovery. We got a Range Rover Sport this weekend as a recovery vehicle. I'm not sure how that's happened, but thanks to the guys at Howard Recovery, they pulled out all the stops to bring and Paul McCarthy, they're trying to jump start the car. So that's what the issue was, car not starting, and that's got to unsettle your nerves a little bit, hasn't it? So Paul McCarthy calling a 5-minute rule. And Paul McCarthy saying that the car is now started.
So it's able to go straight in, okay.
Yeah, and he's saying also he's having issues here. He's having issues with the car. So, yeah, you can see it there, trying to jump-start the car. That could have been an expensive accident.
Yeah, just
could have a BMW into the back of a Range Rover.
Hope your brakes work.
With the idea, Paul McCarthy trying to get that car started, and it looks like it is struggling to stay started. Not sure exactly what's going on there, and as you can see,
trying to get word from our marshals just to clear up what exactly the problem that Paul McCarthy is having here.
Yeah, and of course our marshal straight over to make sure that Paul is able to compete. That's not what you want. Is right just when you're about to take off the line, you have these issues with your car. But it looks like the car is running now, and he goes up against Conor Shanahan, who right now sits second in the championship. Paul McCarthy knows if he's going to stay in this championship fight, he's going to have to beat Conor Shanahan. So Paul McCarthy doing some donuts, warming that car up. As you can see, Paul goes in here. This is a very close battle. Championship-wise, Paul McCarthy finishing 4th at round 1. Conor Shanahan finishing in second. And with Dwayne McKeever progressing to the top 8, whoever wins this battle is now starting to claw those points back on the other. So,
and this is why qualifying is so important, because now these guys are coming up against each other. Paul McCarthy having to go up against second place in the championship. If he's to bow out at this point, Conor Shanahan pulling a further gap on him. Dwayne McKeever already into the grade 8, and he's losing ground, losing points on these guys.
Yeah, looks like we're good to go,
an
Eddie.
uphill battle.
Conor
Shanahan
Paul
to lead them in. The
McCarthy.
aggression here from McCarthy as they leave the line. They almost come together. McCarthy down the inside.
Oh!
Is that a tyre off the rim?
It's a wheel off the car.
car.
A wheel off the car for Paul McCarthy. It's actually sheared the rear end of the car. Incredible scenes. Guys, round of applause for Paul McCarthy. What happened? And we'll have a look at the wheel as yeah, and it's the spacer is shearing on the back of the car on the handbrake on initiation. Guys, give it up for Paul McCarthy. Not a driver error. Literally just got the car started, then a wheel comes off it. So unlucky.
And so close to that concrete wall. A very lucky man, Paul McCarthy.
Yeah, no, looks to look like too much damage with the rear end of the car, although it is just incredible to see a car wheel come off the car. Not sure what's happened here. Paul McCarthy haven't looked to see that the spacers on the car came with it. So Paul McCarthy getting the car onto the recovery truck.
So Conor Shanahan waiting on the line, and of course he will take a 10-0 advantage. We're just waiting to hear whether or not Paul McCarthy will be able to compete in the second half of this battle. Was his 5-minute rule used on the start line? That is what our officials will be determining. And how unfortunate this could be. If his 5-minute rule has been used, he will not have the time to go and get this car fixed and get the wheel back on to compete in the second half of the battle, which would mean that Conor Shanahan would go straight through to the grade 8.
Yeah, so just explain the rules here. Obviously, every driver has a 5-minute rule per bracket. So from the top 24 until the top 4, Paul McCarthy has a 5-minute rule. However, Paul McCarthy was not capable of starting his own run, therefore automatically activated a 5-minute rule when he was being jump-started to get to the line. Therefore, at this point, does not have another 5-minute rule, essentially to call to try and get a wheel back on the car. Now, obviously, at a 10-0 deficit to Conor Shanahan, you know, it'd be nice to get back into the battle, but again, it's a tough task with Conor only having to complete that run to go through. But so unlucky for Paul McCarthy. I mean, just getting the car started, that was in his brain, and all of a sudden initiates, and the wheel comes straight off the car. I mean, we haven't seen anything like that in a very, very long time.
Yeah, and you know, you got a feel for Paul. You can see how disappointed he is, and possibly a little bit shaken after that. Quite a scary thing to happen, have a wheel come off the car so close to a steel barrier.
We're down on the track with Neil Dunn. We're going to try and get a word with Paul McCarthy. What was going on there? A lot of issues.
So Paul, can you talk for a second? Just give us an idea what happened there, what it felt like inside the car.
I have no idea what happened. Yeah, I just initiated on. Conor was pretty happy about my position, and it just literally threw me into the air, and that's all I can remember from there. I was just hoping that I wasn't going to smash the wall bad, but yeah, that's it. Weekend over like that.
Yeah, a very sudden end to the day for you, Paul, unfortunately, but I'm sure we'll see you back out here for round 3 in Mondello. Best of luck out there, and I hope you get the car fixed very quick.
Thanks very much.
Guys, give it up for Paul McCarthy. Obviously very, very disappointed. That's motorsport. And
yeah, very hard to watch that. Not how we want to see these guys go out. And
no, and of course that's, I mean, we all watch it here as entertained fans, but they take very big risks. And what you're doing with a car here, this car is not designed, no car is designed to drift, essentially, the way these guys are actually doing it. So that's so hard on the car, especially the sudden on and off brakes, and of course, the forces going through the car on throttle and clutch and everything. So it goes to show that even the weakest point on the car, which in that case seemed to be the hub and the spacers, just shearing completely off. I mean, all 5 studs straight off the car. Incredible. And luckily for Paul, in fact, not making a big collision with the wall, which looked like it was going to happen. Looked like he was going to hit the wall pretty hard.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, cars are fixable, and
so are championship hopes, but at the same time, safety important.
And we know Paul's going to be back better than bigger and stronger, and he has a great team behind him. But the main thing here is that he's safe. He didn't have a heavy impact into the wall, but definitely you can see appears to be quite shook and.
It's a fright. I mean, you're going to get a big fright when the car leaps into the air when you've completely no idea why that would happen, of course. He wouldn't have known anything about the wheel until he got out of the car. So, yeah, not exactly the end of the run that Paul McCarthy wanted. And as far as I'm concerned, we'll see him back fighting stronger than ever. But, of course, that is emotion you're seeing there. That's knowing the championship is just, even though it's round 2, it gets harder and harder, with especially Conor Shanahan, your championship rival. You want to meet him at that early stage to put points on him, and it looks like by default now Conor Shanahan will move through to the top 8, and Conor Shanahan will go through to join Dwayne McKeever and Ryan Caldwell in that top 8 as we recover Paul McCarthy's car from the circuit. And the guys from Howard Recovery there obviously doing a great job making sure that car is not further damaged as recovered off the circuit. So it goes to show, Eddie, anything can happen at any time in drifting. That's motorsport. That's why we love it, but also why sometimes it can be so heartbreaking. Yeah,
and this goes back to as well, the importance of the safety regulations that are being introduced into the championship starting from next season. And, well, obviously, so many strict safety regulations already in the championship. You may not think that you're going to crash your car, but you can never plan for a situation like this where, parts just decide to give up the ghost. And again, these cars are very highly strung and under severe pressure throughout the weekend, and stresses and strains, and these components do eventually give up.
And of course, I said from another point of view, Eddie, on any other circumstance, he had the perfect initiation behind Conor Shanahan. He was right in the fight. And I just, for a moment, I didn't know why it happened. I thought it was a power issue, but all of a sudden you see the car lift in the air. And on the replay, you can just see how violent it is when he gets that initiation. And incredible stuff. I mean, we saw it on the replay there. It just a massive spark from under the car.
Yeah, and if you go back to round 1 where McCarthy had a wheel drop at the 3rd clipping zone and a very violent reaction to that as well.
Watch this on the replay. Look, he's coming in. Boom, the wheel comes off the car and just slams the car back down on the ground, narrowly avoiding Conor Shanahan. And then more importantly, watch this, just narrowly avoiding a big impact with the wall. So Paul McCarthy, while he'll be disappointed, will probably be thankful when he looks at the replay that he didn't end up putting the car straight into the wall and causing huge damage and huge repairs.
Yeah, it looked as though Paul putting that car on full angle as well, causing the rear end to steer away from the barrier. So even...
Yeah. And just also to mention that it was actually a mechanical part failing, so it's not a case of the wheel nuts weren't on tight or the crew had made a mistake. That was simply a piece of the car failing and causing that wheel to come off the car. So, it's heartbreaking stuff. So, of course, it's an unusual thing to try and recover. Of course, it's a car with 3 wheels because you're essentially dragging a wheel, and it's an exposed brake disc, which obviously is not good for the brake disc or the car or anything else. So just trying to get this up on the winch onto the recovery and get it off the recovery truck in the pits. And of course the guys will be able to put another wheel back on that car, hopefully without the spacer, and be able to get that car back loaded up. And of course, unfortunately, you'll be loading up a little earlier than you'd have liked, Paul McCarthy.
And there you go, car safely onto the recovery truck. And guys, one final time, give Paul McCarthy a round of applause as these guys putting everything on the line for your entertainment, and it means the world to them.
And also, I mean, Paul Paul is a fun guy. He likes to have a bit of crack and stuff, but he's also super competitive, and that's the bit that hurts the most. When you think you can win, when you know you can win, but something that isn't even, it's out of your control, causes you to bow out, and that happened at round 1. He dropped a wheel. Actually, he initiated, and the tire debeated on initiation and cost him his battle there. So in 2 rounds, Paul McCarthy, not essentially himself making a mistake, but small mechanical failures or even a tire popping off the rim or something stupid causing him to not be in the championship race the same way he was when he came into this weekend. And it leads us on to our next battle, which is going to be a very interesting one.
Yeah, the Thunder from down under, Mitch Lerner taking on Mr. Keep Drifting Serious, Pete Nilsson. We got a V8 monster coming up against the car that's down on horsepower, SR20 powered S13. Pete saying he's running about 250 brake horsepower this weekend. And on the other hand, you have Mitch Lerner, who's running probably in the region of 700 or 800 brake horsepower. This track, of course, really starting to dry out now.
Pete Nilsson, absolutely delighted the track is drawn out when he has half the horsepower now. At this stage, he's like, yeah, we've got a task here.
Yeah. He's really up against it, and Mitch is coming here not to take part. He's coming here to take down the Irish. So
yeah, still in. So at the moment, it is Mitch Lerner in the lead position and Pete Nilsson in the chase position. Pete will have a tough job staying with him. He's got to stay with him on this run. If Mitch Lerner runs away, you can assume Mitch Lerner is going to be coming all guns blazing in the second run. So I'm not too sure, Eddie. It's going to be an interesting one.
No, I think Peaton's really up against it here, but side by side off the line into that first outer zone, and Mitch Lerner starts to pull the gap here. Peaton on a very shallow line to try and keep proximity now, making a few mistakes, dives down the inside onto the door and has to back out again to avoid impact with Lerner. As Lerner sends it to the wall, a really strong run here from the Aussie, and as he takes it over the line, you know what, proximity there from Pete and Dave, but I'm not sure that he got it using the correct methods.
Yeah, it was exciting to watch, that's for sure. He was making plenty of dives on Mitch Lerner's door, but how he was doing it was shortcutting the track at times and almost coming to a complete standstill at times to try and stay in the fight. But do you know what? He was pretty brave there, Pete, and had to stay in the fight. Knew he'd have lost the battle if he didn't give it a go. And it's just a couple of errors like there as he came around the top, just on the brakes, shutting down, and big angle throws here and there to try and stay in the fight. But you know what? He mightn't have been perfect, but the judges will reward that aggression and that proximity. However, Lerner with a solid lead run. Now it's all in Lerner's court. Can he? He definitely has the pace. He definitely has the grip. He definitely has the talent. So he's expected now to go right onto the door of that Teal Drift Games 180SX.
Yeah, there's no excuse here for Mitch. He has to be door to door all the way around here. Peden has certainly done enough to keep himself in the fight here, Dave. So this one kind of hangs in the balance. It wasn't perfect by Peden, but certainly did what he needed to do in terms of getting that proximity.
Absolutely, here he comes. Lerner trying to dive in behind Pete
Nilsson scraping that bumper off the wall.
Peden's on a very wide line, but Lerner now starting to close the gap, starting to get to those inner transitions.
Yeah, Lerner right where he needs to be here, hugging that wide line.
Oh, but Lerner losing a bit of ground here.
Down is right, and can Peden pull this off? Can he pull away from Mitch Lerner as they throw it out to the wall for the final time? Lerner and Nilsson.
Yeah, I mean, impressive stuff, guys. Give it up for Pete Nilsson and the Australian Mitch Lerner. Lerner losing a bit of ground here and there, but he was staying on that outer line, and the outer line is what the judges are looking for. So it's a tale of, a battle of two halves. Peden getting more proximity but on the wrong line. Lerner getting less proximity but on the correct line. So let's see which way the judges go with their scores. Slide them left for Pete Nilsson, slide them right for Mitch Lerner, who's going to the top 8. And it's going to be Mitch Lerner. Mitch Lerner gets the win, goes through. Big hugs on the track from both drivers. Pete Nilsson raises the hand of his opponent who has knocked him out in the top 16. Pete will be back in a brand new car. Pete give a bit of a kick to Mitch's car as he goes along. Guys, give it up for Mitch Lerner. He's going through to the top 8 to face Conor Shanahan, of all people. Wow, we got some big battles lining up. So far we have Caldwell versus McKeever. Massive battle. Shanahan, Conor that is, against Mitch Lerner. Now, next up, Jack Shanahan against Daniel Callahan. Jack Shanahan. Guys, round of applause for both drivers as they exit the circuit. We will see Mitch once again, but Peden will return back to his pit area and become a spectator for the rest of the show. And Jack Shanahan, if he's going to get himself back into the championship hunt this year, has to take down Danny O'Callaghan.
Yeah, the chase for the title starts now for Jack Shanahan. And O'Callaghan up against it a little bit here, qualifying into the top 16 by battling through the top 24.
But look at it this way.
McKeever qualifying in third position, or sorry, Shanahan qualifying in third position.
If you want to make a name for yourself, you take down Jack Shanahan. But right now, look at the speed of Shanahan through the first quarter. Now O'Callaghan starts away. Look at this from Danny O'Callaghan. Wow!
Yeah, Danny O'Callaghan bringing the fight, but sacrificing line to get there. But now he's glued to the door, Shanahan, as they throw it out to the wall.
Look at this
from Danny O'Callaghan.
Oh, and he shuts it down.
Danny O'Callaghan gets caught. I'm wondering, is there car problems for O'Callaghan?
Absolutely, he shuts it down just when we thought the unthinkable may have happened, when Danny O'Callaghan, a pro rookie, could take down last year's champion. Man, he gave it a go. Unbelievable chase driving from Danny O'Callaghan, staying within that 3-meter rule as he's allowed to do. Come off the line, look at the proximity, goes back on power, and boom, nothing. That seems like a mechanical failure on Danny O'Callaghan's car. I'm not sure what happened there, or maybe it's shut down for overheating issues. Could be anything. We're speculating at this stage, but he gave it a go, and that's the most important thing at this stage of the competition. He knew how good Jack Shanahan was. He knew we had to put it to him, and he did. So he's saying the car just cut out.
Potentially a fuel surge issue then once again for...
yeah, maybe an overheating issue or something like that. I'm not sure what happened, but he's in the lead position now, hoping that won't happen again. Jack Shanahan will take a 10-0 advantage. So Danny O'Callaghan in the lead position has got to hope a major error from Jack Shanahan here turns things around.
Yeah, but Shanahan far too experienced for that type of thing to happen, you feel. Will he put it on the door here of O'Callaghan? Looks to be playing it safe here, keeping it nice distance here, able to just negotiate the circuit nicely, not getting caught up in any unnecessary difficulties here. O'Callaghan, though, doing a really good job here in the lead position. Everything he can do to try and force the mistake from Shanahan. But look, Shanahan has so much experience at this level, and doing everything he needs to do to secure a spot in the Grade 8.
Yeah, Jack Shanahan at about 80% there, knowing that's all he needed to do, and of course that is the name of the game. You got to get yourself through to the next stage of competition. Judges' scores will drop in. Slide him left for Danny O'Callaghan, right for Jack Shanahan. And going through is Jack Shanahan. Jack Shanahan gets the win, goes through to the top 8, still in the championship hunt. Gotta say though, if Danny O'Callaghan could keep that car running, that run, he would have really worried the current champion, because that was pretty impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, you got to give it everything when you're going up against the likes of Jack Shanahan. O'Callaghan did it, and unfortunately, a mechanical problem that, cost him what could potentially have been a win over one of the best in the business. Now we moved on to Joe Doyle and Mikey Fitz, one of the biggest and one of the smallest drivers in professional drifting.
Yeah, Mike Fitz claiming he has the highest power to height ratio on the grid, and right now he's got to put it all at all the stops. Joe Doyle has top qualifying for most of the session, then was knocked down a few spots. He looks in incredible form here at Dún Laoghaire. Mike Fitz is up against it, I think, here. He's got to go very aggressive from the off. He's battled through the top 24. Can he stay with Joe? Look at the proximity already. Has Mike Fitz... Oh, Joe Doyle shuts down. Joe Doyle shuts down. And contact between both drivers, but Joe Doyle, to me, looked like he went to put the power down and nothing happened. Yeah, look at this, just off throttle. Fitz makes heavy enough contact. I say the door on Mike Fitz's car, and the exhaust hanging from the rear of Joe Doyle's car also. Look at this, boom, contact, and a big car. Look at the door on Mike Fitzgerald's car, absolutely folds. You can see it there. Big impact with the rear of, and they're a solid car, those R33 Skylines.
Yeah, they're not small.
I think that's a half shaft failure. I think that's a handbrake or a half shaft failure for Joe Doyle, pushing the car.
It just looked as if the car had nothing to give there, and Mikey Fitz left with absolutely nowhere to go.
Yeah, and Joe Doyle, who looked so on form, goes to show all the talent in the world, but if the machinery can't keep you going.
And look at this, Dwayne McKeever there helping push Joe Doyle back to the pits.
Dwayne McKeever, who is currently still in the competition, as you can see. Danny O'Callaghan just eliminated from the competition. They're all getting around that car. This is what drifting is all about.
Mike Fitz out of the car, just having a look just to make sure everything is in order. His door is obviously battered and bruised, but
Mike Fitzgerald's car always, every event, looks like this. There's always every panel hanging off. Spoiler gone, lights gone, door bent in. So we're going to move it on to the next battle. We're going to come back. Joe Doyle's on a 5-minute rule. We're going to let you know what happens.
Yeah, moving along to our next battle and our penultimate battle in the top 16. Kieran Casey taking on Dennis Murphy. And you know what? The way these two guys have been driving today, this one is going to be a very, very hard-fought and interesting battle. Casey, the higher qualifier to lead in Dennis Murphy, qualifying in 7th. Murphy battling through after qualifying down the order in 19th position, beating Mark McBurney to take it into the great
Yeah, we're just hearing Joe Doyle confirmed he did break a half shaft on entry, so they're going to try and get that fixed within 5 minutes. It's a big task. We're going to let you know how that's going. He broke both half shafts on initiation, actually. That's how much power is in that car. Twisted both half shafts on initiation, and now he's trying to fix. Look at that, all on the ground. New half shafts going into the back end of that car. All stacked out. I wonder will they get it done in 5 minutes. Doesn't look like an easy job to do, but the guys at Quinn M Sport will be around it. Now we go to the start line. It's Kieran Casey leading in, Dennis Murphy, 2 up-and-comers. Who's going to the top 8? Neither of these guys are willing to back down at this point.
Yeah, you can just see Murphy itching to get going there, edging off the line. Here we go, Casey leading Murphy right to the wall. Murphy all over Kieran Casey as he tries to force an issue. Big dive down the inside as Casey takes it into the wall. They're side by side. Murphy is all over Kieran Casey, but makes a slight error after back out. As Murphy shuts it down, holding back the transition. Is this a mechanical issue for Dennis Murphy?
It looks like a shutdown from Dennis Murphy. Do you know what I'm thinking? Do you know what I'm thinking right now? Have all of these guys set their cars up to maximum grip for the wet conditions we had earlier, changed all the suspension and the tire settings to make it maximum grip, and now the grip is back in the circuit. It's actually starting to tear the cars apart on the rear end. That could be an issue here, because Dennis Murphy looked like he was well in the fight here, no issues whatsoever, and all of a sudden as he comes into that last section, it looks like that car just shut down completely. Dennis Murphy now calls a 5-minute rule, so a lot of mechanical failures here are starting to decide some of our battles. And as I mentioned before, Dwayne McKeever will go up against Ryan Caldwell in the grade 8. Connor Shanahan will go up against Mitch Lerner. Jack Shanahan will go up against the winner of Joe Doyle and Mike Fitz. And we'll go to our, Kieran Casey now will be pulled back off the line as we go to our last battle in the top 16, and we'll have 2 more battles to come back to. Joe Doyle on a 5-minute rule, now Dennis Murphy on a 5-minute rule. If you're trying to keep up with it, it's getting complicated right now. But we're going to move on to our last battle, which will be Alan Hinds versus Kevin Quinn. So Alan Hinds, if you're new to drifting, he essentially is an online simulator designer and drifter, also a student, 22 years of age in college, but he designs a lot of these simulators that he essentially drifts these tracks at home during the week on tracks that he's built from scratch in the computer, then comes to the event here and tries to do it in real life, and he's been doing it all year so far. Kevin Quinn,
and guess what? It works.
It does.
Because he qualified in 2nd position here, just missing out on top spot, and he's coming up against Kevin Quinn, who was very impressive against Brian Egan in that top 24 battle.
He was, held his nerve in difficult conditions. Now he's back to the dry conditions. These guys trying to figure it out as they go. It will be Alan Hinds to lead in. Kevin Quinn into the first corner. Quinn makes a big dive from the off here. Tagging the wall, Alan Hinds right to the outside. Look at Quinn though, all over Alan Hinds, leaving him absolutely no room whatsoever. Quinn coming with the fight right now on the inside of the track. Can he get back on the door? Look at Alan Hinds though on that perfect outer line, but Quinn makes one last huge dive from Kevin Quinn.
Put it on the line. What
Wow.
about that from Kevin Quinn?
That's the Kevin Quinn we've been waiting for all year.
Yeah, you know, we talk about the chase driver, but you can't pull moves like that without a perfect run from the lead driver. Do not forget what Alan Hinds is after doing here, putting down a stomper of a lead run. But watch this as we take a look at the replay.
Look at Kevin
Quinn's transition here is ballsy.
Yeah, and compared, like just a moment in time there. If you get one second wrong there, that's a big impact. And he put, now Alan Hinds, we said this at round 1, he's out, he's done. There's no overcoming that, especially when you've got less horsepower, less grip. But Alan Hinds now knows from his spotter, who's going to be saying, Alan, I hate to break it to you, but you're going to have to do something spectacular here or you're going home, because Kevin Quinn has just chewed you off the track. What's going to happen next? The IDC Round 2 is ready to go again. Guys, look at Alan Hinds chasing him in, and he's right there with Kevin Quinn. Late initiation.
Right on the back bumper from Alan Hinds. Kevin Quinn dialing on the angle here. Oh, almost contact as they come around through that 3rd clear zone. And Hinds makes a big dive now down the inside.
Look at this.
Door to door, wheel to wheel, contact.
And
Was that contact?
There was contact. It looked like there was something wrong. Something broke in the front of Alan Hinds' car. Kevin Quinn takes it across the line, no such issues. You can see a wobble from the front of Hinds' car. I'm not too sure what happened, but it may have been from earlier contact. Definitely looked like something broke. He did, at this point, I'm not sure, he did make contact somewhere near here. And then as they went through, watch Alan Hinds, the front of his car. He does, I think, make contact, and then all of a sudden something snaps. Watch, wheel to wheel, bang, and then it's over. I think it might even be something broke, but it definitely they touched the wheel off Kevin Quinn's car.
Yeah, I think it may have been front wheel to front wheel, and of course,
you don't want to be there. You want to be front wheel to the door, and Alan a little bit too aggressive there, and it looked like he did have an issue with the front steering on that car. But it shows, I mean, guys, it shows how hard they're pushing. I mean, they're willing to not only go front wheel to rear wheel in a chase, they're willing to go front wheel to front wheel to try and beat each other. Insane commitment from these guys, and every time they make that contact, every time something gets, you know, scrubbed up, it's easy to watch on, and, you know, guys are like, oh, you know, I gotta go get a ticket and drive to Dunleary. That's like hundreds of euro damage every single time, one tiny mistake. And these are just normal kids. He's a 22-year-old student, you know, like these guys are putting everything they have into it to try and be a star. And it looks like there is a steering part broken on the front of Alan Hinds' car, so we will go to a decision. And you can easily see that Kevin Quinn is sitting in the middle of the circuit, and that is because he has completed 2 runs. Therefore, going through to the top 8 is Kevin Quinn. Not the way Kevin would want to have gone through, of course, but Alan Hinds, you can see that car not even steering in the right direction. And guys, round of applause for Alan Hinds, putting it all on the line to try and take down Kevin Quinn, but unfortunately contact between 2 front wheels. I mean, you can't say it's not exciting right now because everybody is pushing even too hard.
yeah, absolutely. All these drivers pushing to the extreme of their limits, and it just goes to show qualifying doesn't always mean everything. Alan Hinds qualifying in 2nd position, but bowing out at top 16, and the dream weekend for Kevin Quinn. He adds another name to the list of, you can just see on screen now, Dennis Murphy with the head off that car again, suffering more mechanical problems. And is it more rocker cover or rocker problems for Dennis Murphy, as John Shanahan and Mike Dean look to try and get this car back up and running? And Mike, our head marshal, with the 5-minute clock on.
So Eddie, here's the story right now. Joe Doyle retiring from the competition, not meeting obviously trying to get 2 half shafts in the car in 5 minutes. However, judges deeming that the fault was of Joe Doyle, obviously, for shutting down. Therefore, Mike Fitzgerald allowed a competition timeout, choosing to use that competition timeout to do a lap of the circuit to make sure there is no damage to his car after such a heavy impact with Joe Doyle. So our marshals in the tower here. And here we go, Dennis Murphy also out of the competition. Engine troubles for Dennis Murphy, meaning we have a decided top 8 already, and a lot of mechanical failures there costing a lot of drivers. So now we have a top 8, knowing that Kieran Casey is moving on to the top 8. Mike Fitz moving on to the top 8. However, Mike will take a lap of the track allowed by our marshals during a competition timeout to make sure there's no damage to his car. He took a very heavy hit there on the door. I think Mike has been taking pretty heavy hits all day, to be honest, to that RX-7.
To be fair, all his career, in fact, I don't think Mike ever does a lap of the circuit without a panel being banged on that car, and the guys at Group D with a bit of work to do when this goes back to Cork, but it ain't going home just yet because Mike Fitz is true to the grade 8.
And maybe some issues with Mike Fitz's car there as he struggles around the course. Of course, just making sure that is 100%, but he's taken some pretty heavy hits there throughout the day. He's still fighting though. He hasn't been knocked out yet, and 8 drivers now remain. We started with 70. We now have 8 remaining. It will be Ryan Caldwell, the new up-and-comer from the north of Ireland, to go up against Dwayne McKeever. Good friends there, good at both teams, know each other very, very well. And as you can see, Ryan Caldwell, 16 years of age, he's going up against the man that hasn't been beaten this year yet. The next battle, this is insane. Conor Shanahan, currently 2nd in the championship, will go up against Mitch Lerner, the Australian, who's still in the hunt to take down the Irish undefeated streak. As we get close, Jack Shanahan will go up against Mike Fitzgerald. 2 good friends behind the scenes will go up against each other, and Kieran Casey will take off on Kevin Quinn. Now that's a very interesting bracket right there.
Yes, a very stacked bracket, and you know what? Shanahan and Lerner very valuable points on the line. Second and third position in the championship, and Lerner gunning to take down that streak. Well, he's going to have to do it the hard way, because if he beats Shanahan, he could have Caldwell or McKeever to go through next to take it into a final. So Lerner's going to have to do it the hard way.
Now look,
this is going to be his day as McKeever makes it to the line.
Yeah, now here's the thing. McKeever goes in here as the favourite. He's currently winning the championship. He's currently leading the British Championship also. He's a 2-time Irish Drift champion. Ryan Caldwell, this is sort of where he falters. He's got to this situation before in BDC and IDC, but it's always been the car that let him down. The car looks good this weekend, but Ryan Caldwell knows Dwayne McKeever. He knows his style. He knows how good he is. And Caldwell is the young gun coming in here. He's the unknown, 16 years of age, and he goes up against the champ. And as far as I'm concerned, this is a chance for Ryan Caldwell to blow the championship wide open, a chance for him to make a name for himself on a global scale. He'll be thinking about all this on the start line behind the visor, and he is not going to let Dwayne McKeever get away with this one easily.
Well, the important thing here, Dave, is that he has the machinery to compete in this. He's not bringing, a knife to a gunfight. He's bringing, a tank. He's coming up against one of the best in the business, but he has the ability to put on a show. He has the ability to run that wide line. He has the ability to go door to door. Does he have the ability to take down the best in the business? We're about to find out.
Oh, Caldwell makes a big error on entry, locks up all four wheels, and it looked like he had an issue getting some grip down there. And Dwayne McKeever is just up and gone. Caldwell's going to have to cut the track massively to get back into this one, and does. Now he's there, but is the damage done for Ryan Caldwell? He's got to push Dwayne McKeever around. Look at the transition from Ryan Caldwell.
Is it too little too soon?
Oh, and he makes contact across the line. Caldwell knew he'd messed up at the start. He had to get back into it, got the proximity through the second half of the course, but that's a huge error. Does not initiate on entry. All four wheels lock up, and maybe the occasion, maybe the pressure, maybe everyone watching on and expecting Dwayne to be so good got to Ryan Caldwell a little bit there. Maybe the inexperience.
Yeah, I mean, if you take it, Dwayne has been competing since he was 13 years of age. So while he's only in his early 20s himself, he will be an idol to some of these young guns coming through. That is the level that they want to reach, and the opportunity to take him down. I mean, that's like Daigo Saito coming to Ireland and some of these guys wanting to battle against him. The opportunity to battle Dwayne and take that undefeated streak from him in 2018 is just huge. And at 16 years of age, maybe the occasion just getting to Caldwell a little bit. But you know what? He's still in this one. Nothing is over until it's over. Caldwell to lead in McKeever.
Yeah, and with all the mechanical issues we've been seeing everyone have, you can't take your eyes off it. Will these cars even survive today is what we're asking now, with so many reliable cars starting to break down here in Dunleary. Oh, I mean...
And let's just face it, McKeever's never been known to be, gentle on his car.
He certainly is not gentle on that car. So can Dwayne keep the roll going? All he's got to do is complete a lap. Caldwell's going to go for a big run here.
It's got to be perfect here. McKeever right there with him now as they take it right out to the wide extremes of the circuit, but not the proximity we were expecting from McKeever.
I think he's holding back here, Eddie. I think he knows he's got a 10-0 or at least a very heavy advantage, and he's holding back on it. Or has Caldwell just got too much pace?
I don't know. I think it might be just too much pace from Caldwell. We haven't seen McKeever put in those McKeever-esque runs yet today. With the exception, of course, in qualifying as they come back around, we are about to see who's going to take it through to the Final Four. Has Caldwell done enough, or will that mistake on the run-up in the first run be the difference maker? Slide them left for Caldwell, slide them right for McKeever. McKeever's going through to the grade 8. Dunleary makes some noise for both drivers. Ryan Caldwell's dream weekend ends there, but he's going to be back for round 3. But give it up for Dwayne McKeever. He stays undefeated and goes into the Final Four. So, taking it back to the judges, give us your opinion. Was it down to the error on that first run? Talk us through it.
Yeah, it really all comes back to Ryan's error on initiation. He locked up the front brakes and then had to reinitiate again, and had lost a massive amount of ground on Dwayne at that stage. He massively cut the track then to gain that proximity back. He did get on Dwayne's door for the second half of the run, but he did have to cut the track massively to get back on his door. Dwayne then on his chase run just played it safe, did enough, maintained proximity all the way throughout the track. So overall, Dwayne getting the win.
So there you have it. The consistency from Dwayne McKeever continues. We move it on. And you know what? If there's going to be a battle where there's going to be fireworks, this is going to be it. I advise you to take your phones out of your pockets, set them to video, and set them to record, because Mitch Lerner, the 21-year-old from Down Under, is taking on Conor Shanahan, the 14-year-old from County Cork. 2JZ versus V8. A guy chasing his first ever championship versus the Thunder, who's coming here to take down the undefeated streak, his second competitive season in the Irish Drift Championship, and he feels that this weekend is the day that he goes to the top step of the podium. Took third place home at round 1. He's in contention for the championship. He's coming up against second place finisher Conor Shanahan at round 1. And this one is going to be explosive, Dave.
Yeah, I mean, take down Conor Shanahan here. The championship's wide open. Remember, Mitch Lerner, I mean, these guys are competing for a championship right now also, but Mitch knows, take down Conor, you've made a statement to the rest of the grid that you're going to be very tough to stop today. Look, let's also remember that Conor Shanahan beat Mitch Lerner at round 1, so a little bit of revenge could be on the cards here, and of course, he's not going to take this line down, Mitch Lerner. He's going to say, this young kid is going down, absolutely a matter of fact.
What's interesting is that
they're coming off the line is what's interesting. Mitch Lerner is released. Conor Shanahan, a little bit of separation. Now full dry conditions here in Dublin. Look at Conor Shanahan now. Starting to get right up close to personal with Mitch Lerner. Oh! What was that from Conor Shanahan? He got away with it. Took the front splitter off the car. Conor Shanahan is on fire in the chase position. As they transition again, look at this from the 14-year-old. Dun Leary on your feet for Conor Shanahan. What was that?
W-O-W. That is all I can say. Wow.
Did you see that transition from Conor Shanahan?
That is as much contact as you can make on transition without causing an accident. That was insane. Look at it here. Panels flying everywhere and stays in it. Shoots onto the door again and just keeps it glued to Lerner for the rest of the circuit. Another transition. I mean, at 14 years of age, that is masterclass.
It's nothing about 14 years of age anymore. This guy is just one of the world's best. Doesn't matter what age he is, doesn't matter where he's from, doesn't matter about his story. When he puts in runs like that, put him anywhere on the planet, he's one of the best. Mitch Lerner, what is he going to have to do now? What do you say if you're the spotter, if you're on the radio to Mitch Lerner and go, man, I don't know. Like, there's not much more you can do.
Do you see how comfortable and relaxed Conor Shanahan looks? He's there giving the peace sign and...
Good Lord, Conor Shanahan still thinks he's in a PlayStation right now.
That was insane.
You could even see the damage, enough damage not to affect Mitch Lerner's car, but a little rub from Conor Shanahan. Just, it was, I mean, millimeters was the only thing that got him away there. But Lerner now, I mean, he's talking a talk all the time. He's one of the nicest kids you meet behind the scenes, but super confident. If you want to go win this thing, if you want to go take down 15 years of history, well, you're going to have to go through that 14-year-old on the start line. You're going to have to put it on his door. You're going to have to put on one of the best runs you've ever seen in the history of the championship right now, because that was one of them.
He's talking the talk. It is time to walk the walk. He needs to like, I mean, he can't be more than a foot away from Shanahan for the whole circuit, or he's going home.
Yeah, and I'm sure, as I said, Australia watching on, everyone here in Ireland watching on, there's a little bit behind the scenes of rivalry between the two countries in this battle. And Conor Shanahan is going to put in a lead run. Mitch Lerner is going to have to pull out something incredible here to take down Conor Shanahan.
Just looking at some of the comments coming through, Patrick Shanahan has commented online, statement.
It's a statement of intent for everybody here.
That's exactly what it is a statement.
And I mean, from my perspective, Lerner is sitting there going, okay, this is it. This is the moment. This is the moment that everyone here in Dun Leary and everyone watching at home is going to remember my name, because if I don't do something sensational, I'm about to get beaten by a 14-year-old in a harbour. And that doesn't happen often outside of boating or yachting or something like that, or surfing even.
It sounds like after school on a Friday stuff.
It does, but from my perspective, Lerner's got the machinery, he's got the experience, he's an Australian champion. And Conor is going to try and aim for his first championship, and it's for a spot in the final four against Dwayne McKeever, who... So we're hearing word from our marshals that our marshals just checking Mitch Lerner, the rear of Mitch Lerner's car. Nothing, no damage made enough to upset his line or how he was driving, but they're just checking some damage that may have been caused as a subsequent of that everything is not leaking, everything's 100%, fuel systems, all that kind of stuff. So our marshals obviously very diligent to make sure that every car is 100% ready to go, because the drivers are locked in, strapped in, ready to go. The adrenaline's high. They just have to make sure these guys are safe, and that's what they're doing right now.
Yeah, and of course it's not considered obviously a 5-minute rule. If the marshals are just checking that the car is safe to go out on track, it would only be considered a 5-minute rule if it was all mechanics were to...
Mitch Lerner has not exited the car. No one has come to fix anything on the car. The marshals are just inspecting that the car is capable of competing at this point. So our marshals will make sure that Mitch is happy with everything. It's a safety issue here. It's not nothing to do with competition. It's just to make sure he's 100%. You can see Wayne Curran, our head scrutineer there, making sure that car is 100% and he is happy with everything before it comes off the line. And of course, you'll see our scrutineering guys now on the start line, especially that's where they're inspecting these cars throughout the competition. We all want to see fun battles. We want to see a lot of excitement, but at the same time, it's important. It looks like Mitch Lerner. Okay, so here is what's happening. So Mitch Lerner, I mean, of course, we're so transparent here at the IDC, and of course, we've got some amazing guys behind the scene. We can explain to you exactly what's going on. So the marshals on the start line told Mitch Lerner to turn off his car to inspect the fans and everything that's on the back of the car, okay? Therefore, Mitch turned the car off, therefore turned it back on. The car was very hot. They're allowing him to cool the car down because they instructed him to turn the car off, not himself. So that's making it all fair. And look at this. Looks over to Conor Shanahan and points at him in the car and says, you're going down.
And a steely stare from Conor Shanahan.
I can't believe it. They're both pointing at each other here. Here we
go
off the line.
Shanahan and Lerner.
Look at this. Lerner right on the door of Conor Shanahan. Here we go. Lerner starts to make the move as they come through the center section. Transitioning behind Conor Shanahan, not as much proximity as we saw Conor Shanahan, but now we see it. Lerner,
look at this from Lerner.
Lerner's starting to put on the pressure and a big dive into the last corner. Lerner puts it on the rear wheel as they come across the line. That is a battle, ladies and gentlemen. That is worth the entry fee. That is Australia versus Ireland. And it's all going down here in Dunleary. Incredible stuff. I mean, I know you guys, it's starting to warm up a little bit here. I think when these two guys get out of the car, everybody here should stand up and absolutely hit them with a wall of sound. Give it up for Conor Shanahan and Mitch Lerner.
That was one for the history books. A real dogfight from both these two young guns.
No, I mean, that we're all a little bit, you know, it's cold earlier on and everything like that. I think everybody, grandstands, up on your feet. Come on, everybody up on your feet for these two guys in the middle of the circuit. Everybody up. Now hit them with a wall of sound. Give it up for Conor Shanahan and Mitch Lerner. But we need a decision. Is 15 years of Irish history safe? Or will Mitch Lerner march on? Will Conor Shanahan go on to face Dwayne McKeever with the championship on the line? Judges' scores are dropping in. Slide him left for Conor Shanahan, slide him right for Mitch Lerner. The tension, one more time says, it's a one more time! One more time for Conor and Lerner. Gotta go back to the judges. Guys, that was insane.
Absolutely no separating that there. A couple of very small little mistakes throughout both runs really. In the first run, Conor kind of cuts a little bit across the track coming from one to get up onto Mitch's door, but has an absolutely aggressive chase. Now on Conor's lead, Conor lays down a fantastic lead line. Mitch chases him very closely. He falls off a little bit between 4 and 5, which kind of brings it back down to both runs being even, let's say. So one for Mitch, one for Conor. So we have to see that go one more time.
So there you have it. So what happened, I mean, I'm just going to clarify what Dan was saying there. Obviously, Conor diving across the track, not what the judges want to do, but did get on the door. Mitch not diving across the track, but losing proximity. So they're the only two mistakes in both runs, balancing each other out, and a one more time called. I ain't complaining.
I'm certainly not complaining.
I'm not complaining one bit.
I could watch that all day long. And you know what? While we wait for those two guys to freshen up some rubber onto their cars, we got Jack Shanahan and Mike Fitzgerald making their way to the start line.
Yeah, two good friends. Just when the Shanahan family thought they could calm down for a minute, there's another one. So here's Jack Shanahan now going, his older brother going to the start line, the current Irish Drift champion. He goes up against Mike Fitzgerald, and the way things are going today, it's anyone's game here, and Mike Fitzgerald will know A, how good Jack Shanahan is, B, if you beat Jack Shanahan, what not a lot of people have done, you're in a special club. You've beaten the champion, the current champion, the confidence levels goes up. You want to make a name for yourself, you take down Jack Shanahan or Dwayne McKeever. That's the way we look at it in Ireland at the moment. And Mike Fitzgerald will know that, especially when Mike is making those claims that he wants to be right up there at the top of the championship. Well, here you get your chance now, Mike. You got to take down the current champion. Jack Shanahan, though, back to his best today, it looks like. And here we go. Shanahan to lead in Fitz into that first corner. Through the gears they go, and a big entry from Jack Shanahan as Mike Fitzgerald now tries to close the gap, and this is where he can do it. Shanahan slows a little bit on angle, and now Fitz tries to get back into the fight, pushes that RX-7 as close as he can, but not right onto the door of Shanahan. He's got to start to get as aggressive as he can here. Look at the run from Shanahan and the speed from Shanahan. Oh! Fitz hits the wall hard. Mikey Fitz.
Big contact for Mikey Fitz, and I think he's going to have felt that.
Yeah, that's a big hit from Mike Fitzgerald. Big hit from Mike Fitzgerald there.
And
whole rear of the car caved in.
Jack Shanahan straight over to see if he's okay. Our marshal's over. That is a big hit, and we are just waiting to see. Our main concern here, of course, is Mikey Fitz okay?
Yeah, that was
because
a big
that was
hit.
A big shunt.
That's a very big hit. Absolutely a dead stop for Mike Fitzgerald as he hits that pole. And serious concern here, guys.
Give him a round of applause.
He's felt that one, Mike Fitz. That is not a one you walk away from with no pain. That was a huge hit from Mike Fitzgerald. Now, we haven't seen, he walks out of the car, but that was scary. That was a scary hit from Mike Fitzgerald. The tires in front of that pole doing their job of deflecting the car around the pole. But as you can see from the back of Mike Fitzgerald's car, that is a huge hit. And of course, our paramedics and marshals down to make sure that Mike is okay. And of course, that is our #1 concern here. Whatever about having fun drifting, it's most important that he is okay. And of course, the paramedics coming just to check on Mike. Of course, adrenaline and shock will get you out of the car, but if anything more sinister is the case, and as you can see, guys, round of applause for Mike Fitzgerald. Put it all on the line there against Jack Shanahan, and you can see Jack coming straight over to check that Mike is okay. These guys are good friends.
Really good friends off track, and obviously, you know, the competition is important, but nothing's more important than the health and safety of the drivers, and they will have real concern for each other. You can just see here on the monitors where it goes wrong, and that is a really big shunt for Mikey Fitz. And even when it's slowed down like that, you can just see how severe that was. And very fortunate that it didn't go into that second barrier, because I think that could have been another.
That's a big hit.
Big problem for Mike.
Remember, that is a solid, immovable concrete pole that he hit there at very big speed. Now, his tires in front of it obviously used to compress the impact and obviously bounce the car away, which it did, doing their job. And you can see that the guys all yesterday were repairing those tires and wrapping them so that they don't separate on impact immediately. And a lot of guys yesterday were impatient with why we were fixing that. Well, it goes to show that is exactly why our marshals here at IDC were so concerned about that part of the track getting lost in the smoke there. And as you can see, a big impact from Mike Fitzgerald's car there, and one of our VP banners being used to good effect to try and recover that car from the track. Mike has been one for a check over with our paramedics. Obviously, with an impact like that, of course, you'll get out of the car, shock, you know, and obviously you didn't expect it. That's the thing, you're not expecting the impact. When you're going in a race car towards a wall, you tense up, but Mike would not have seen that pole until he actually hit it, because he was coming through Shanahan's smoke screen in front of him. Yeah,
and it's when the adrenaline wears off that he's really going to feel the effects of that hit, and obviously he's over in the ambulance getting checked out by our paramedics, and we hope that he.
It looks to me like the suspension took most of the hit there on the back end of the car.
Yeah.
Hit it pretty square on the wheel, one of those works wheels. Of course, you can get them from Group D, and Mike will be, I'm sure, making an order during the week. But from our perspective, and you can even see that Mike was trying so hard to stay in the fight with Jack. Last-ditch effort to get into that last corner.
And that's the thing, you know, Mike knows that if he wants to, you know, get further than that grade 8, coming up against the current champion, that he has to give it absolutely everything.
And you know, it shows how tough this track is, Eddie.
Yeah.
It's a really tough track. You see this from the alternate angle. Mike's in the smoke, he's transitioning, he can't see absolutely anything. And then all of a sudden, bang, straight into the pole. And from that angle, it's fairly severe. That's a severe hit.
Yeah, look, it's a really scary accident as well to see that. It's not nice to see, and, you know, not nice watching back on it. And obviously our concerns are for Mikey's.
Yeah, well, obviously we'll keep you updated from the paramedics on how Mike Fitzgerald, I'm sure he's going to feel that one tomorrow. But it goes to show that while it does look like a lot of fun out there and a lot of guys skidding around, they take real risks with real speed. And especially when you're at speed sideways and you hit something dead stop, that is a huge shunt for Mike Fitzgerald there. And Mike, not the biggest guy in the world, you know, to be taking hits like that, and of course putting it all on the line for everybody here. That's the whole point, you know.
No, it doesn't have much body cushion. And yeah, look, that car battered and bruised, and you know, we talk about Mikey Fitz. Every time he comes out on track, he gives it everything. He's always pushing the car to the very limits, always rubbing it off walls, and always damaging his spoiler. He's an all-out driver, giving it absolutely everything, ever the entertainer, and he just gives everything he has to this sport.
Yeah, and unfortunately for Mike Fitzgerald, it will be the end of the competition for him. No way he can repair that car in time, meaning not the way he wanted it, but Jack Shanahan will move on to the top 4. So Jack Shanahan going through to the final 4, leaving us with one more battle in top 8. Then we go back to the one more time of Shanahan and Lerner. So it's heating up here, Eddie. Literally and figuratively, because it's actually not as miserable as it was earlier either. It's actually quite pleasant out here, and now the track is fully dry. We're getting the finals we wanted. We appreciate you guys sticking around. You've obviously had to go through that pretty miserable thunderstorm in the middle of the day, and now conditions are perfect.
We want to thank you for sticking with us as well, of course, and you know, your loyalty has been rewarded by a slight bit of sunshine. Unfortunately, we can't do any more than that for you.
Yeah, we haven't plugged it in again. So yeah, Fitz recovered from the track. Our marshals just making sure no spillages or anything from the car. And we will give you an update on Mike Fitzgerald from our paramedics in a while, just to make sure he is okay. A lot of people say when you get out of the car you're okay, but that's just a reaction. We want to make sure Mike is 100%. I want to also thank all of our incredible partners here at the Irish Drift Championship, making it possible. With Link Engine Management, the title partner of the Irish Drift Championship and the world's leading standalone engine management systems. Mobil 1, the world's leading synthetic motor oil. MixGarage.com, Europe's largest online retailers of car parts and accessories. If you're a DIY guy, get on there. That's the cheapest you'll get any of your parts to do servicing at home. M-Tech Brakes, the leading UK supplier of brake components. JDM Distro, the #1 supplier of JDM products in Europe. Scary website. Go on it. Fall in love with all the products they have. Incredible stuff from Japan. Wheels, seats, engine conversions. JDM Distro, #1 place to go for it in Europe. Zestino Tires, we saw them take 1 and 2 on the podium yesterday. VP Racing Fuels, the world leader in race fuel technology. Brian James Traders, crafting quality traders for over 30 years. Simpson Racing, and of course, safety of utmost important now in the Irish Drift Championship, the benchmark in motorsport safety products. So Simpson, Monster Energy, the guys have been here all weekend, fueling you guys with free cans of Monster, fueling the Irish Drift Championship. Group D, as you saw on Mike Fitzgerald's car there, specialist in drift parts and fabrication. And Samco Sport, the original performance silicone hose. One more time is ready to go here as Lerner and Shanahan take it into there one more time. And look at Conor Shanahan back on the door again.
Yeah, Shanahan right in the hunt again for this one, not letting Lerner get an inch of distance. Perfect transition this time around, no contact. But look at Shanahan. Lerner leading the perfect line though, making it easy in the chase position, but Shanahan right there when it makes a big dive down the inside, trying to force a mistake from the Aussie. Dunleary, as they cross the line, make some noise.
Man. We are seeing a show right now. Lerner and Shanahan may go down as one of the best battles in the history of the Irish Drift Championship at the end of this one, because remember, he can only go one time. So essentially, at the end of the next run, we will have a winner. Judges are starting to decipher it. I mean, Conor on that run, just right there again, all the way through the course, diving through the smoke screen. Obviously, drivers getting a little bit more worried about that pole in the middle of the circuit now after seeing Mike Fitzgerald's car, and rightly so. Lerner now being asked the question, can you beat this guy? Can you go to the top 4?
Well, look, that was a textbook run from both drivers. Very few mistakes that I could see. And at that level, you know, you need quality judges to decipher between it. What are we going to see on the second half? Nothing in it. Both drivers off the line, slamming through the gears. Shanahan and Lerner.
Look at Lerner! Lerner is right there, all the way, with Conor Shanahan pushing him around the track. Mitch Lerner's not backing down on this one. The Australians coming for it. Look at this! Onto the door of Conor Shanahan's car. Will he make the transition clean? He does. Shanahan goes to the white line. Lerner's right there with him. What a run! Oh, I don't want to be a judge on this one. And they have to make a decision, guys. Again, they're putting it all on the line for your entertainment. Will you please, O'Leary, get on your feet once again for Mitch Lerner and Conor Shanahan.
That right there is as good as it gets. And if there was the ability for this to go one more time, it would, but it can't.
It's ridiculous.
We need
it's
a
ridiculous.
winner.
That
Wow.
is ridiculous talent right there. Ridiculous talent is what that is. Drifting as a discipline is hard enough, but to do it inches from an opponent when you can barely see with 8 walls around you, that precise, that aggressive over 2 runs. I mean, it looked to me, I was a little bit more swaying on the Conor Shanahan buzz the first run. Now maybe Mitch Lerner's come back again. Oh, God knows the scores are in. Which way is it going to go? Kieran goes Mitch Lerner, and Mitch Lerner gets the win. Lerner gets the win. Give it up for Conor Shanahan, 14 years of age. Ireland, be proud of the talent you're creating in this country because it is world class. I'm going to take a breath. Guys, explain it to us because it was again millimeters and inches.
An unbelievably tough one to call there, Dave. Really, really close. Conor's chase run was absolutely fantastic. He maintained proximity while staying on the qualifying line. But however, on his transition between clipping points 6 and 7 in front of us here, he did make a big dive, completely missing clipping point 7. Got back on Mitch's door, so he still had an advantage overall after that chase run. Then you flip it around, and Mitch was just massively aggressive. And okay, he wasn't quite out on the qualifying line as much as Conor was, but he was more aggressive. Definitely had more proximity over the run. Up until between clipping points 7 and 8, we absolutely couldn't separate him. But unfortunately, Conor dropped a wheel in front of us here, just over the white line, and that kind of sealed the deal. It was enough for Mitch just to take the advantage overall, but it was absolutely splitting hairs here.
Yeah, judges having a tough job there, and it's down to those small errors. And man, Conor Shanahan still getting very valuable points in the championship there, but then we've got McKeever and Lerner coming up. Jesus. Okay, let's move it along. Kieran Casey and Kevin Quinn on the line for a shot in the top 4. Neither have ever made it that far in the competition before. That's what it means to these 2 guys on the line.
Yeah, this is a huge one for both drivers. A chance to go up against the 2017 champion Jack Shanahan. A chance to be in the final 4. Who's going to take it through? A little bit of a hesitant start there off the line from...
Casey throws it in. Look at Quinn. Quinn coming through with incredible aggression and now trying to put it to the door of Casey, and look at this, has to back out, goes on big angle, sacrifices some of his proximity to stay in the hunt, and now back to the door of Kieran Casey going. Kieran Casey is on rails here.
Yeah, nailing the qualifying line, Kieran Casey. They disappear in a cloud of smoke, and they reappear to cross the line, but Casey, Dave, putting on a clinic there.
It's absolutely ridiculous. Can't even see anything in Dunleary anymore.
Join us again in 10 minutes when the track reappears.
Are we still in Dunleary? I think I'm just in, I gotta see white. Everything's white here in front of the tower. Kieran Casey, from the start of practice qualifying today, has just shown how good a driver he is. He is making no errors, no mistakes. He's on a perfect outer line. You know, he's a humble guy, he's a quiet guy. He may not be a big shouty star in the championship, but he is making a name for himself today. And Kevin Quinn has to go back to that start line and say, well, man, like,
what do I got to do?
I couldn't put him away.
Look, this is the driving style that got Kieran Casey a pro license in the first place. We don't often see it, but he is putting on a spectacle here. And Kevin Quinn is going to have to pull something very special out of the bag here. He needs his qualifying line to be inch perfect, because Casey's going to be right there with him. But a big gap opens up nice.
Yeah, Kevin Quinn in the lead position, Casey in the chase, and Quinn tagging the wall. And as we look at Casey, he's coming back for it here. Maybe not the proximity, but he's on that outer line, and now Casey starts to make a big dive as they come in to the last couple of corners as they switch through. Will Casey make it through? Oh, Casey!
Oh, big error from Casey. Kieran Casey gets lost in the smoke.
He panicked. He looked at that pole and said, I have no idea where it is, and that was the panic. I think Casey made an attempt to not hit that outer pole, and that was the difference maker straight away. Almost over-rotated, kept in the hunt, but it may be all that matters at this stage of the competition to separate them. But impressive stuff, though, from 2 rising stars in the championship, putting on a hell of a show here in Dunleary.
Yeah, I mean, look at the sitting smoke on the track as they come back around through that midsection from Kevin Quinn and Casey. I think he just doesn't know where he is and backs out a little bit. And
Well, guys, we are waiting for our judges' scores to drop in between Kevin Quinn and Kieran Casey as they get out of the car. Will you please make some noise as they have put on an incredible show here. The guys, give it up for Kevin Quinn and Kieran Casey. Homegrown talent showing that no matter where you are in the world, these guys will just pull it out of the bag every time. But the judges have put their scores in. Slide them left for Kevin Quinn, right for Kieran Casey. And going through to the top 4 is Kevin Quinn. Kevin Quinn goes through to the top 4, doesn't qualify in round 1, comes back, says, you know what, I'm going to the top 4. Incredible stuff. We go back to you guys. Big mistake from Casey towards the end.
Yeah, in the first run there, Kevin had a good chase. Kieran put in a really good lead run, mind you, with chase, but Kevin was diving in places. And the transition, he over-rotated, fell back a little bit, then he had a big cut between, heading out from 4 out of 5 to regain proximity. So after the first one, Kieran had a reasonably good advantage. Second run, as you see, Kieran, he doesn't get on Kevin's door from 1 to 2 for a start. There's a separation there. He closes in then as we come out to 3 and towards the transition. So he cut the track there. It was his first error, but overall the biggest error was coming after transition 2, where he over-rotates completely and almost comes to a stop. But he throttled on and got to the finish line, but it was a big mistake. So that's what overturned the advantage he had in the first run.
Okay, there you have it from the judges. We're going to go down to the pits and have a talk with the Thunder from down under, Mitch Lerner, who's going into the top 4 to face Dwayne McKeever.
So you can just, Mitch Lerner, he's just after taking out Conor Shanahan. A little bit of retribution for round 1, I'd say, Mitch.
What's that, sorry?
A little bit of retribution for round 1.
Yeah, I knew I had to be on the game for Conor. He's an awesome driver, unphenomenal for 14 years old. But no, it was good to have a battle with him, a nice clean battle, and yeah, I hope I can get him again soon in the future.
Absolutely, great job, Mitch, and we see you out there for the top 4 battle.
So there you have it from Mitch Lerner. It's like listening to Home and Away. But he's definitely away from home as he now goes up against the current leader of the championship, Dwayne McKeever. Dwayne McKeever is now up on the start line. Ladies and gentlemen, take your pick. Dwayne McKeever, Mitch Lerner, the way they're driving today, this is going to be absolutely ridiculous. We had a ridiculous round 1 of IDC. It was so exciting, on edge. I mean, just when the IDC, everyone's like, oh, I don't know, does it still have it? It came back. Now, we have 4 drivers remaining. It's McKeever versus Lerner, Jack Shanahan versus Kevin Quinn. 4 guys remain, 3 trophies up for grabs. I mean, if you don't want to stand up for a battle in this whole year, you know what's about to go down here. McKeever and Lerner. Ireland versus Australia. Lerner has never made it to the final, and if he does, that's the biggest threat this 15 years will have. And what has happened there? Something has happened, Mitch Lerner's car, during the warm-up.
You have got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me.
What has happened here? Oh, I'm not too sure. He's looking to the front of the car. That's not a good sign.
The way he's throwing his gloves and his helmet into that car suggests nothing but bad things to me.
Yeah, and it was a fairly loud, it sounded to me like a tire popping, but now that they're looking under the front of the car, that does not sound like it was a good noise for Mitch Lerner.
God, don't do this.
And also for the fact that he was on it today. If it is a case that he has to retire, I mean, the fact of the lack of panic here is worrying me. I mean, are we hearing from the marshals? And would you believe, I mean, do we have it? Yeah, we have something in the back there. Can we see it on the replay? Anything? He's doing a burnout. As you can see in the background on the replay, all looking good, warming the tires.
Oh yeah, a few puffs of smoke out of the engine. And look, Keen Drone, he spots it straight away.
Tells him to turn the engine off. It is being reported from the start line that it looks like Mitch Lerner has terminal engine failure on his Westlake tire. LSA, and that is not a cheap engine, nor is it an unreliable one. Guys, round of applause for Mitch Lerner on the start line. I mean, absolutely devastated. To fly 15,000 kilometers to be here for 3 days. He can't believe it.
Man, I can't. I'm genuinely sick looking at this.
And to be honest with you, it's the emotion that everyone's feeling here right now, because
you know what, we talked about it yesterday, Dave. a number of years ago, if we got one close battle in a whole weekend, we counted ourselves lucky. Now it's battle after battle. These guys give it everything they have. Their whole lives is drifting.
Yeah.
And when you see that commitment to see things like this go wrong, it's just...
And you know what,
it's just heartbreaking.
Just to show how much these guys love this sport. Dwayne McKeever, we're going to go up to the start line to Neil Dunn. Neil, you're with Mitch Lerner. What happened?
Thanks, Dave. Yeah, just here with Mitch. Unfortunately, a lot of smoke there, Mitch. Can you tell us what's after happening there?
In that run with Connor, I think maybe it might have led from... It's not the scrutineer's fault at all. They told us to turn the car off after that run, and it was running a bit warm. And then sitting there turned off after a run for however long it was, a couple of minutes, 5 minutes, however long it was. I think it's just overheated the motor and hurt the motor in that run with Connor. It did feel a little bit funny, but just drove through it. And then just doing the warm-up burnout then, I think it's thrown a rod or something. It was pretty... it didn't feel very good, so I'd say it's probably not very healthy now, but yeah.
Look at very unfortunate. It's terrible to see it go out like that, but hopefully we'll see you back here for round 3, and maybe a little bit of work on the engine and get you back up and going again.
Yeah, for sure. It's obviously devastating. We obviously come so far away, and it tops off to... I wanted to get a battle with Dwayne. For some reason we can't ever seem to meet each other, but thanks to my mum, my dad, especially my dad, he's worked his ass off this whole year, whole last year. He does everything for me, and I couldn't do it without him. It's a shame to go out with a mechanical failure. This is the first time in competition where it's actually put us out, and we didn't even get to the start line, unfortunately. But all my sponsors, Rapid Crushing, Lost Racing, WA Performance, I couldn't do it without them all. And hopefully we can fix it. It's a big dent in the pocket now, but we'll try to come back, and we'll come back stronger. And see everyone next round, hopefully.
Very good. Thanks very much, Mitch. Big round of applause.
Guys, I tell you what, everybody here at Dundee in the grandstands, on your feet and give them a huge round of applause and a standing ovation for leaving it like that. Give it up for Mitch Lerner, ladies and gentlemen. And you know what would make Mitch Lerner feel a little bit better right now? Would be the chance to go to round 3 and win €20,000 in order to get him back in the game again. But what I really noticed there, and I was just about to mention Eddie before we went to the interview, was Dwayne McKeever, as he drove around the circuit, shaking his head. You would think it's competition. You would think, now Dwayne, you're into the final automatically. He was shaking his head and hitting the steering wheel, coming around the track, distraught that he wouldn't get the battle or get the chance to prove it. And that shows that it isn't like any other motorsport. You can sit on the internet and smash keys, you can give out about it all you want, but when two guys who are actually there at the top level have that much respect for each other, have that much heart and soul in the game, and are disappointed to win because they didn't want to win that way, it shows that this sport is so different than anything else that's out there. These guys are friends behind the scene, they have fun behind the scene. And as Mitch Lerner's car is rolled away, it's heartbreaking, absolutely heartbreaking to see it happen here. And Dwayne McKeever will go into the final. Here's another interesting thing that's happened, Eddie. Mitch Lerner is now out. That means that the next battle will decide third position on the podium between Kevin Quinn and Jack Shanahan, because whoever loses it will automatically take third position. Meaning we have 2 battles remaining, a top 4 and the final. I'm just gutted for Mitch Lerner right there. And I go, look, motorsport is about excitement, motorsport is about fun, but when you see it happen on the track in front of you and you can feel the emotions, it does something to you. And I think it's like any other motorsport, the car has to work at the right time. And just doing a burnout to get your tires warmed, and obviously serious, and they'll obviously pull that apart. Hopefully it's not as serious as they first think, but what we will do is give you an idea of what Mitch and the guys will be aiming for at round 3. It is, of course, the prize fight. Tickets on sale tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. 1,000 grandstand seats. That's it. The biggest prize in the history of Irish motorsport. The biggest one-day prize in the history of drifting. We'll give you a little teaser of what's about to go down on July 1st.
Moments. They are why we watch. They are why we cheer. They are what makes this sport what it is. But these incredible moments were created by pride, not reward. They promoted national stars, but didn't change their personal circumstance. What if one event could change their lives? What if the reward was worth more than just pride? Can you imagine the moment that would create? biggest ever cash prize in Irish motorsport. Who wants it more? Time to find out.
€20,000 on the line for one battle. One battle.
Who doesn't need that?
And it's life-changing money. Can you imagine the tension in Mondello on July 1st when one battle is worth €19,000?
And when you look at the damage that these guys have done here already this weekend to their cars, I mean, those bills are starting to crank up, and these guys, you know, the money has to come from somewhere. That is life-changing money.
Yeah, tickets on sale 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Don't miss out when they're gone. They're gone. Now, important, I want to just have a little word with everybody who's here also. Now, that, of course, is one of our biggest events of the year at Mondello Park. And all we're going to say to you guys who come out to these events is we really appreciate you guys. We thank you so much for coming out, even braving the weather conditions. But I think you would have to agree at this stage that the guys and the talent on the track, they match that. They match your enthusiasm. It's so worth coming down to the events in the flesh to feel what we're all feeling here today. So what we want to do is invite you guys down to that event and grab some friends, grab some family, bring them down to that event, show them how good these guys are, because we have to grow this sport ourselves. Everyone here in this arena, we're the only ones that can grow it. We're all responsible for making it a big thing. And the talent we have here compared to anywhere else in the world, it has to be shown to everybody. We have to be proud of it as Irish people that we can produce this. This country has no reason to be good at drifting. We have one circuit. We have very little opportunities for sponsors. We don't even have the market to get sponsors for these guys. They're all putting it out of their pocket to get out there. They're building cars as good as the guys who have huge sponsors, and they're putting their heart and soul into it, and we see how much emotion goes on the track. So when we go to Mondello on the third round, make sure you grab your tickets tomorrow. It only takes a couple of minutes to make sure you've got that grandstand seat. No extra prices, but come down and watch the biggest prize fight we've ever had. We're going to reward those drivers with actual life-changing money, but we need you guys to support that, and we want to keep doing that from now on, and we need you guys coming through the gate, buying tickets, and getting here in the flesh.
Yeah, and that's the only way that we can continue to do that, to put up that sort of prize money, is by people coming through the gate and paying to be in attendance. So it is all so important.
Just a quick one, Eddie. We've got Jack Shanahan in the pits. Of course, he is waiting for Kevin Quinn at the moment for his top four. Let's go over to Neil. He's talking to Jack Shanahan.
Thanks, Dave. Yeah, just here with Jack Shanahan. He's sitting here waiting patiently for Kevin Quinn to get going. A few issues there with the car. Jack, you seem to be a lot more comfortable in the car this time around.
Yeah, we've been loving this weekend since the start. First half of practice just seemed to be able to click, back in form again since last year. So no, I've been really enjoying it, pushing hard all weekend, but this is not the way I want to try to get to the final, and that's for sure. I'm gutted, to be honest. I hope Kevin can make it back to the start line so we can actually have a battle to get to the final, but obviously I want to try go and beat McKeever as well, but I want to go through Kevin Quinn first, and you know.
Jack's right.
Absolutely, yeah. I had quite a big incident there with Mike Fitz on track. Now you obviously were leading, you didn't see it. Tell us what went through your mind when you seen Mike in the wall there, or in the pole?
Oh, well, like, me and Mike are like very good friends and stuff, like, so seeing him when I came, like, I went around the finish line, I see him red flags, tyres, and Mike facing the other way, and like, I got such a fright, to be honest, like, 'cause like, he's not exactly the biggest guy, like, he's very fragile, like, so hopefully he'll be okay and that they can get the car fixed for round 3 and stuff, and I'm sure he'll be back better than ever.
Absolutely. Thanks very much, Jack, and best of luck there. Hopefully we get to see you against Kevin Quinn. If not, we might see you in the final. Cheers.
So what Jack was referencing was Kevin Quinn's car having a wheel stud stuck on the back of the car. They're unable to get a wheel stud off the car. He is now on a 5-minute rule. He's been given his allocated time. He's on a 5-minute rule to get that wheel stud changed, and that's what Jack's alluding to. He doesn't want to get to the final by a mechanical failure on Kevin Quinn's side, and it's incredible to think how these guys get those free passes and are disappointed. So Jack Shannon is warming up for the battle. Kevin Quinn is going to be trying to get to the start line. Just needs to get a wheel on the car.
Yeah, and I just want to say, sorry, I probably look silly holding my hand up on screen like this, but I can just see Mikey Fitz has been let out of the ambulance, and he looks to be okay. So just, guys, he can hear you as he walks behind the grandstands. Give him a round of applause.
Yeah, guys, give it up for Mike Fitz. Just been cleared by the paramedics there, and every precaution taken to make sure that he's okay. He's been checked out. He is going to be sore for the week, though. That was a big hit. And we've just had drama on drama here today, and I mean, it's not the drama we want. We don't want crashes, we don't want mechanical failures, even though, sure, it makes it exciting. But when you know these guys personally, like most of the people here do, you know how much it means to them. Damage to cars, mechanical failures, and now Kevin Quinn on a 5-minute rule. I mean, can he get that car ready and back on the line? Such an unusual problem. Cannot get a wheel stud off the car. One wheel stud stuck on the car. They've been hit it with sledgehammers, trying to get another wheel onto the car and just can't. It's obviously overheated or something's happened or cross-threaded. We've no idea what's going on right down in the pits, and it's incredible to think that we get to this level of competition, and it's like throwing the dice where these guys can even make it to the start line.
Yeah, but I suppose as well, these cars are so highly tuned and so highly strung that they go through such incredible, punishment throughout the day. They're running very high temperatures, and things do start to take their toll when it gets to this stage in competition. And it's quite often when you see things slowing down that little bit more, people have to work a little bit harder. Teams coming together to try and keep these guys out on track, and that's why it's so important to have a good team behind you, so that you're not trying to run around and do it all yourself. And a lot of the time you see the drivers just staying in the car, staying focused on their task, letting the team worry about the mechanical issues, and getting simple things like tyres changed. Unfortunately, it doesn't appear to be simple this time around for Team Quinn.
Dwayne McKeever, who's already into the final there. There's a lot of people around Kevin Quinn's car right now, and they seem to be having major issues with that car, trying to get a wheel onto it. And I'm not sure exactly. It seems like it's such a simple problem, but one that they obviously can't fix. Is that a wheel being put back on the car?
Well, it looks as though that the fresh rubber is back here with a tyre sticker on it.
I'm not too sure if it's trying to take the wheel off the car is the question. You can see they're still hammering on it, so I'm not too sure exactly what's happening. You see every team in the pits. They are not just the Quinn M Sport team. They are every single person in the pits there trying to get that car back together. And as you can see, there's some unusual techniques with a drill trying to get that wheel stud either on or off. I'm not sure if that's the new tyre going on. So wow, we're just waiting to see what the marshals call it. Eddie, this is not what we wanted to see.
Yeah, this is not how we want to see, especially at this stage of competition. We want to see these guys battling it out. These are the best in the business, and we've been wowed with some fantastic battles already today. So we want to see these guys fighting it out all the way till the end. And it looks as though that wheel is... Yeah, well, obviously they've managed to get some of the...
Yeah, I'm not too sure what is happening
some
right
of
now.
The wheel nuts off, so that's why the wheel looks a little bit loose, but it's that one final one that there's some dejected faces there.
Yeah, like you can see the damage on the wheel from them trying to get it on or off. I'm not too sure exactly what. And it looks like it will be a retirement for Kevin Quinn. As you can see, one wheel stud remaining on the wheel and not coming off the car. And what a deject. Guys, round of applause, you can hear you behind, for Kevin Quinn. I mean, honestly, we've seen it all today, and the heartbreak of getting all the way through the competition and a bloody wheel stud.
So now who gets third place?
We'll have to figure this one out, won't we? So obviously, if Kevin Quinn now not being able to get to the grid means that the higher qualifier of the two will get third position, meaning taking a consolation prize and third place on the podium will be Mitch Lerner. Mitch Lerner will take third place on the podium. And we didn't even see a battle. I mean, it's not a great consolation, but it's something. And Kevin Quinn, you can see Barry McKeever, Dwayne McKeever's dad there, looking very, and he actually just realized I've said it now. So he's actually was looking very dejected there. And of course for Kevin, that is just inconsolable again. And Mitch and Kevin, I'm sure we'll be having a pint or two tonight. You can see Mitch going over to Kevin going, I know what it feels like, because we have now got two drivers remaining in Dún Laoghaire, and of course it is the age-old rivalry. North versus South, two ex-champions, Dwayne McKeever and Jack Shanahan in the final of Dún Laoghaire, and in the most unconventional way we've ever seen them get here in the past.
Yes, and you know what's funny? They practiced against each other earlier on this morning, and I happened to record it, and I put it on Instagram saying,
look at that, you can see Mitch
with
Lerner
the question,
and Kevin Quinn,
could we see this as our final battle of the day? And here we are.
I've never seen so much emotion in a drift event in my life. You can just feel the disappointment, and then you still feel the excitement because you're about to watch the two out-and-out best-ranked drivers in the country right now go head-to-head in the final.
Yeah, there's real mixed emotions on this one. But you know what? We have a final for the ages. These two guys both one current and one former champion of the Irish Drift Championship.
Let's do the stats on it, Eddie. Jack Shanahan, 2-time UK champion, 1-time Irish champion. Dwayne McKeever, 2-time Irish champion, current leader of the UK championship. These are the two guys that when the argument comes out of who's the best, these are the two that everyone discusses. Well, right now in Dunleary, we are about to have a final between McKeever and Shanahan. You know what? To finish us off, let's everybody get up on your feet. 2 runs left in the day. Let's show them on the start line that you guys mean business. Shanahan versus McKeever. Final 2 runs in the day. Start line gets the orders. Doors closed. Here we go. McKeever off the line. Shanahan right there with him. I think we're in the first corner now. Look at this. Jack Shanahan starts to chase Dwayne McKeever across the track. McKeever so much pace that car. Shanahan making a big dive to try and stay with the undefeated this year. Dwayne McKeever and Shanahan trying to desperately stay in the hunt as they transition. Look at the dive from Jack Shanahan.
Big dive from Shanahan just towards the end to get that proximity. But Dave, what about the pace from McKeever? He looked so quick from start to finish. And even a driver of Jack Shanahan's standard and capability struggled to keep with him. He kept consistent proximity, but he just couldn't get it onto the door.
Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, you can call this championship anything you want, but you can't call it boring. It's been just a roller coaster of emotion from the start of the day. And it is one more run until we are finished for good in Dunleary. Once again, guys, make some noise. Let them hear you on the start line. Put your hands over your head. Let them hear you. Dwayne McKeever about to chase in Jack Shanahan for the last possible run of the day. Here we go. Can McKeever seal the deal? Can he stay undefeated in 2 countries? Or will Jack Shanahan get back to his best? 3, 2, 1, here we go. McKeever chasing in Shanahan.
Oh, big impact with the wall, and they stay in it. McKeever's all over Shanahan as they switch through for the final time into the midsection. McKeever door to door with Shanahan. Tri-Ace Tyres versus Tri-Ace Tyres. They send up the smoke screen. Shanahan dives down onto the door. Hand out the window from Shanahan. Dunleary, make some noise for your finalists. Dwayne McKeever and Jack Shanahan. What about that? What a fitting end. And what a final run. Or is it the final run? Because we can still go one more time.
We don't know.
Wow. Dave, I've got nothing left in the tank. It has been phenomenal.
Oh man, it's been a ridiculous day. A ridiculous day, man. Guys, please put your hands together for Dwayne McKeever and Jack Shanahan. Incredible stuff. It looks like we have a decision from our judges, Eddie. I'm going to make my way down onto the track. We're going to hand out those trophies. We're going to look for Mitch Lerner in the paddock to come out here onto the track as well. And whoa, what a day.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really say much more than that, Dave. What a day. It has been a phenomenal end to what has been one of the most up and down rounds we have ever seen here. We have had weather play havoc. We have had mechanical failures. We've had some of the best battles you are likely to see, all the way from top 30 or top 24 into the top 16, grade 8, final 4, and wow, what about that? A huge final from 2 of the brightest stars in world drifting, let alone Irish drifting. Jack Shanahan and Dwayne McKeever. The world is watching, and they just put on a spectacle. We got to say a big mention to our partners here at the Irish Drift Championship. Link ECU, the title partner for IDC this year, and the world's leading standalone ECU. Mobil 1, the world's leading synthetic motor oil. Mixgarage.com, Europe's largest online retailer of car parts and accessories. M-Tech Brakes, the leading UK supplier of brake components. JDM Distro, the #1 supplier of JDM products in Europe. Cestino Tires, custom molded tires for extreme grip. VP Racing Fuels, the world leader in race fuel technology. Brian James Trailers. They've been crafting quality trailers for over 30 years. Simpson Racing, the benchmark in motorsport safety products. Monster Energy, those guys have been fueling Irish drifting right since the start. Group D, the specialist in drift parts and fabrication. And of course, Samco Sport, the original performance Silicon Hones brand. We want to invite you guys to please stay here for our podium ceremony, and I'll hand it over to Dave for the podium announcement.
Thanks, Eddie. An incredible day here in Dunleary. If you've enjoyed it, everybody here make some noise. What a special place, right? I'm actually exhausted. Emotional roller coaster in drifting today. And this sport just keeps producing it. And we saw some good moments, we saw some bad moments, but that's motorsport. That's what these guys go through behind the scenes. When you're not here watching them, these moments happen all the time. And unfortunately today, one of those moments happened, which we didn't want to happen. Which was somebody was cut down in their prime and when they were looking like they could get finally to the top step of that podium. But if one man here deserves a huge, huge ovation, it's this man. Will you please, Dunleary, absolutely scream for a third place, Mitch Lerner! And before we move to the final, can we also get a huge round of applause for wherever he is in the back for Kevin Quinn, unable to compete in the top four. And that leaves us with one final decision. And how many times have we stood here and made a decision between these two guys? And regardless of who wins or loses this battle, we can certainly be very proud that as a very small nation, we have created two of the best drivers on the planet. Fact in these two gentlemen. So before we announce it, can you please put your hands together for Dwayne McKeever and Jack Shanahan. Well, I can announce that taking second position on the podium, double check. Will you please make some noise for Jack Shanahan? And that means staying undefeated in 2018. Give it up for the Northern Smoke Machine, Dwayne McKeever! We want to thank each and every one of you for coming out today to support this incredible championship, to support these incredible drivers. We'll see you in Mondello on June 30th and July 1st. Tickets on sale tomorrow, 9 a.m. Once again, guys, give it up for Mitch Lerner, Jack Shanahan, and your winner, Dwayne McKeever! From all of us here at IDC, we want to thank you for your participation in the event. Please exit the venue cautiously as you can, and we will see you at our next event. Thank you so much for coming, from me, Dave, from Eddie, from everyone in the tower, and everyone on the ground. Congratulations to the IDC team on another incredible event. We'll see you guys in Mondello in July. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you to all of our sponsors, all of our media, everybody involved. We'll see you next time.
we are Funk Motorsport, your heat management specialists. Based in the UK, we strive for perfection, developing thermal products trusted by professional race teams and drivers worldwide. Performance, protection, reliability.
Want to save money on car parts and accessories? Then visit mixgarage.com, Ireland's #1 retailer for all things motoring. Simply enter your reg, and away you go. Repair parts, car care and tools, travel accessories and service parts, all the great brands at great prices. Mixgarage.com. Shop online now.
Mobil 1 is one oil, and unlike any other, it combines multiple lubricant properties into one oil. It transforms at the molecular level. In low temperatures, it pumps up quickly to lubricate. In high temperatures, it provides outstanding protection. In harsh conditions, it adapts continuously, keeping your engine running like new. Mobil 1 lets you drive further than ever before. That's your engine evolved. Mobil 1. Energy lives here.
There's a reason that half the paddock, if not more here, run Samco hose, and that's that nobody wants to be let down by a split water hose or a split boost hose. And with Samco, there's nothing to worry about.
With using these hoses, we get the reliability, they never burst, we can just rely on them, and that's all we need.
half of the grid are running Semco hoses in their cars, and there's a reason for that. They're the best in the business.
I'm so happy to be running Samco hoses now, because in the past we have run other manufacturers' hoses and we have had the intercooler pipes collapsing, which obviously when you're under massive pressure on track, you have to be fully supportive and reliant on your hoses.
So a lot of people ask us over the years, you know, what hoses you run. Personally, I can't think of anything better than Samco. They do what they say on the tin, they work, they don't come loose, they don't fail on you, they don't pop. You can't beat Samco.
I've chosen to use VP racing fuel since I was a teenager racing motocross, which was 21 years ago now.
I've been using VP racing fuel for years, basically ever since I built my first race car, and you want to get that consistent fuel, it was VP through and through.
Absolutely,
right from the beginning.
that's the brand. Yeah, I've been using VP probably since I was 10 years old racing dirt bikes. There's so many different VP racing fuels to choose from. One of the best go-tos is definitely C16.
So we use C16 in our Formula Drift cars.
I run C16 in all my cars outside of this one here. The 2 race cars here at the track, we run the C85.
And my supercharged Coyote-powered Mustang that's over in Europe, we use MS-109.
And a Ferrari car, I actually run MS-109.
VP has been making racing fuel for 43 years. They're the official fuel of multiple top series globally. No matter where we are in the world, no matter what fuel we need, it's always consistent, it's always perfect and exactly what we're expecting and our tuners expecting. They support myself, my Drift Alliance bros, and for that, I'm extremely thankful. Keep making amazing fuels, and we'll keep out there having fun.